It's Di from Being Mommy with Style, and today I wanted to do a video that I know I'm going to get requested and I know I'm going to get asked about in email and Facebook, so I just decided to kind of head that off and preemptively make a video. But I do want to put a disclaimer at the beginning. I want to put an asterisk at the beginning and say that this is absolutely not to dissuade anyone from becoming a real estate agent. It's not to try to talk you out of it. It's simply to share my opinions and my experience, and also share some information that I felt like I tried to search out and find and I couldn't really find. I also want to put the disclaimer on there that every single experience is different. And what I mean by that is if you're in a different state from me, your state could vary very wildly. Different companies are very different from one to the other. So I'm not going to be talking about anything that's state specific or company specific or anything like that. I simply wanted to talk about, I have 4 points written down that really stuck out to me that I realized very quickly would not work for me as a real estate agent. So a little bit about me and my background is I came from marketing, and I was actually marketing at a real estate agent team company of about 40 agents or so. And so that's how I started. And I was looking for a new challenge and to grow, and so it just seemed like a natural transition to try out that side. There were a few things, and I knew a good portion of it from being around it, and I was still caught by surprise by these things that I wrote down on this list. And that's why I wanted to make this video today, because I felt like when I was starting to get in the middle of it and realized there was some really key points that I really didn't like, I felt like, where was this information? Like, why did no one mention this, or why is there no articles about this? So I know that I got, I think, 1 email and 1 Facebook message earlier today from people saying, I'm thinking about going into real estate. Can you answer these questions for me? And so I've been getting those constantly. And so I wanted to have this video, 1, to just be able to share, because I know I'm gonna get asked, and then 2, to put it out there so it may be helpful for somebody that's looking for this information. Here's the bottom line. There is something out there for everyone. I know tons of people in real estate that love it, and it is their thing. It is their why. As it turned out, it happened to not be mine, and that's totally fine. It's not going to be for everyone. So if you have a strong passion that you want to do real estate, you're probably fine. I didn't go into it with a strong passion that I wanted to do real estate. So let's just put that right off the top. For me, it was to be able to connect a number of things. I also really loved working with the team. And so it was a, hey, this looks like it could be a great way to stay a part of the team, get a new challenge, and be able to connect a number of things in my life. In the end, it wasn't the answer. I've now gone on and kind of found an answer to my why, which I talk about in a different video. But it was definitely a learning process, and I would not change a thing about the whole process because it got me to a place where I feel like I'm meeting my why. So all that being said, here are 4 different things of the reasons why it didn't work for me. Being a real estate agent didn't really appeal to me. And these are things that I was a real estate agent for a very brief amount of time. Very short. And I worked in a real estate office in the marketing side for a very long period of time. These things were not an issue if you're working in the office. These are the things that immediately I recognized as being an issue, as being on the agent side. So the number 1 reason, and the number 1 thing that I would say right off the bat, is you have to want to work alone. And I realize that's very counterintuitive, because I'm thinking, like, I'm a people person. I love working with people. And so you think like, oh, real estate, you're helping people find homes or sell homes or whatever. And you think it's a people business. It's actually very much on your own. And I very much feel like it's comparable to sitting here on my own doing videos. So I know that I'm gonna make this video and it's gonna go out into the world, and then I'm gonna get responses back from it. People are gonna make comments. People are gonna send me emails. People are gonna, connect with me on Facebook. And that will happen down the line. However, right now, making this video, I am sitting in my office at home on my own. And although I'm speaking to the camera as if there is a human sitting there, there's no one here. I'm on my own. I'm working alone right now. And that is very much what it feels like to be a real estate agent. The majority of your time, you know, you're making calls, you're doing those sorts of things, you're sitting in your car waiting for people to show up. You're really on your own a majority of the time. So if you like being alone but still enjoy working with people, it probably will be a great fit for you. For me, I really love, and I'm probably abnormal in this, I love meetings. I love meetings and working in the office with people and seeing the same people day in and day out. And so that's kind of like a little sub note, and this is probably much more hyper a problem on the situation that I was in, because we were a team. So you know, you work with the people until they get their contract and they go down and then they work with someone else. And not everywhere is set up like that. If it's a traditional agency, you know, you may be working with them through the whole way, but it's really rapid cycle, very short periods of time. And I really like working with people and developing really long-term relationships. And so that's something I learned about myself during this process. I didn't realize how, you know, much of an issue for me that was going to be. So my first point is you have to enjoy working with people for just short spurts of time and being really on your own for a majority of the time. And by on your own, I mean like literally sitting in my office right now on my own. So it's very lone wolf is what I likened it to. And a lot of people, I think, go into it with that idea. You know, they're excited. They think they're going to start their business. And, you know, in some agencies, they're putting their faces all over everything and all that. The place that I worked was not like that. You worked under the company name and it was structured very differently. So I think in my mind, I thought because it was structured differently, that whole like lone wolf, like slap your face on the side of a sign or whatever, was going to be less of an issue. It's still the same idea. So just putting that out there. Like I said, works for tons of people. But if that kind of gives you pause, I wish someone could have said to me, it's going to be just like making videos, because that would have clicked with me instantly. Like sitting here, I'm alone. This is the whole reason why I work in an office, because I enjoy being around people and the same people day in, day out. Number two is, so one of the points about being a real estate agent that I think a lot of people go into is the flexibility of schedule. Now again, your mileage may vary. Every single team or company or brokerage or whatever is going to be different. For ours, we had a lot of like set times that we had to go in for certain things, but then our schedule kind of ended up being like popcorn, because it wasn't like we needed to be there 8 to 5. It was like come in at 1. And you know, you like had these like random things. I learned about myself that I enjoy keeping a consistent calendar. I enjoy going somewhere from a block of time to a block of time and just being there for the duration. I did not realize at the onset how much a popcorn schedule was going to bother me, because I've had positions previous in my life where I've usually had in my life 2 to 3 jobs at all times. That's just how I am. I like staying busy. I like constantly having something to do. So periods when I was in college, I had college classes in the morning, then I would work in one of the offices at the college in the afternoon, and then I would go teach dance in the evenings, and then I, you know, would work at Best Buy or some other store that I worked at, Target, in the evenings or the weekends or whatever, or alternate evenings even. I mean, I pretty much was at work constantly in college. And so at times in my life, I have had what I would consider a popcorn schedule. My life was very different then. And I learned about myself that I'm not still in that frame of mind and position where I enjoy the popcornness of it, where, you know, you're doing this and then you're doing that and you're doing this. I enjoy a variety of projects, but I apparently enjoy them in one spot. And so that was definitely a learning experience. And so, you know, if you haven't had like that kind of like schedule where you need to be here and then you need to be there and then you need to be there, and none of those things necessarily correlate with each other because they may all be related to 3 different or 4 different accounts, it just wasn't an enjoyable part of it. Definitely not the biggest part. I could have definitely adapted that if I loved everything else, but I didn't. So, you know, it was just something I wanted to put on here to mention. And I think a lot of people probably understand that about the schedule, but I did want to mention it. Oh, but as far as the flexibility, there's certain things that you don't have control over when it is. You know, so certain things that get put on my calendar because they have to be at a certain time, you know, final walkthroughs and inspections and all that. There's a certain time frame that all those things have to be within. So, you know, if you already plan on being out of town those couple of days or whatever, good luck. So that was kind of combining my next 2 points. I guess the other one that I was most taken aback by and really surprised by is that I personally didn't feel a sense of purpose. And I thought that working with people to kind of find them a home, I thought that it would be more, I thought it would be fulfilling. And for me, it didn't turn out to be. And unfortunately, I don't have, you know, like a big point here to watch out for. But I would say I figured out very quickly that I literally wasn't getting any, you know, like intrinsic rewards off of doing this. And so I would just say if you're in a different field of work and you're, you know, looking at possibly moving over to real estate, really sit down and think about your day and think about like, well, what points of the day was I the happiest? What points of the day was I not? Because I didn't stop to do any of that. So you have to understand, like, I was in a much different position. I was just trying to stay at the company I was already at in a different way. And just see if it was like a challenging new way to be there. So there's a whole range of things I think that people coming from outside of the industry, coming into it, could probably do as a litmus test to see what they think. And I think evaluating your day and what you enjoyed, like if it's, you know, that morning brainstorming session, I think that's probably a red flag because it goes back up to my first original point. And if I really had sat down and looked at my day, you know, when I was in marketing, I probably would have realized that. But it's not a step that I took because I didn't think about taking it. So all this is on me. This is my decision. It's all on me. And then the other thing I would say is obviously this was another thing I didn't have to do. But if you're looking at going into real estate, you have the ability and the right to talk to multiple brokerages and find which one's the best fit for you. I think that a lot of times people maybe just kind of go with their first inclination, but really each one is run very differently and they all have their own standards and their own, you know, ways of doing things. So I definitely would try to talk to multiple ones and see which one you feel most akin to. So other than that, those are the real big thing that I just was honestly blindsided by was just feeling like I was just completely working on my own, like just basically, you know, kind of doing my own thing. And I guess I thought that maybe in a traditional setting, it would be more like that and it would be feeling more like you're working on things together. But it just seems like that's just the nature of the position. So if you're good with that, you're probably good. The only other things I would say, and I'm not going to talk about this extensively because I'm not a lawyer, it's not my, you know, area of expertise, but there also are some things shaken up in the real estate segment that if you're looking to go into real estate, I would just recommend you look into it and just have an idea of what's going on. I mean, obviously there are places like Redfin and Zillow and stuff like that breaking into the market. And I think that real estate's gonna look a lot differently 3 to 5 years from now. Just like the nature of what the internet's done, you know, in other fields, it really hadn't done that up to this point for real estate. And I think that they may be on the verge of something, they may not. There are a number of class action lawsuits which you can find news articles about. Again, I'm not an expert on this. Just recommend you look into it before making any decisions at whatever point you're watching this video, because it's way in the future, they may be way over. But when I made the decision to start taking my real estate classes, these were not filed yet. They got filed while I was completing it and then finally went to, you know, whatever the legal term is that it's called. That they started the process, and they may not have anything come of it. They may completely shake up the way that the industry is run, and no one has a crystal ball, no one knows. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the There's a number of class action lawsuits right now over buyer's commission. If you just Google that, it'll bring it up. There's a number of powerhouse, attorneys that have taken it on, that have previously worked on cases against Big Tobacco, against, I think, Toyota, one of them. So it's a big deal, and I would look into it before you make any decisions. But I mean, other than that, there are some very enjoyable parts. I mean, obviously, I worked with a team of amazing people. I just happened to be able to work with them more when I was over on the marketing side. And I think that there is a lot of people that genuinely enjoy and get intrinsic rewards off of helping people find homes. I think that it's definitely for a lot of people. Just didn't end up being for me, and that's totally fine. But I did want to put this out there because I felt like when I was looking for information, like, why don't I like this? Like, you know what I mean? Like at 11 o'clock at night on my phone, like, why do I hate doing this so much? I didn't feel like there was really any information out there about just the realities of what it felt like. And the realities are, it is very isolating. It is kind of like all over the place as far as your schedule. And, I mean, you are kind of put in some situations sometimes where our standard was, and again, this is the whole, your mileage may vary. Every single company, I'm sure every single state is different. Our company had set up where people needed to come into the office, meet you first at that initial meeting, and then you go out on appointments. I mean, the idea of meeting a total random stranger in a home, potentially vacant, is a little bit concerning, and there has been some issues through the year. So you need to reconcile all those things, have a plan, and if it's meant to be for you, then none of that will be an issue. But I did want to put this video out because, one, it's going to be easier for me just to send the video link out to people than to have to keep answering this in typed text over and over. But two, again, I hope this is helpful for someone out there that was maybe either on the fence, didn't know what to ask for, didn't know what to look for. Maybe this will give you a starting point to do your own research. Don't just go with the opinion of someone that's on the internet. Do your own research and figure out if it's for you or not, because every single person is different. This is just my quick viewpoint and quick take on it. I'm super excited to be going back to marketing. I realized through the whole process that marketing is where it's at for me. I enjoy working on a team and on projects and really seeing that cycle get carried out. And so I have, figured out my why on my end. And so it was a great learning experience, absolutely great learning experience. And through the whole process, I was actually brought to this amazing opportunity that could definitely be a great fit with my personal why. So it was all good things on my end. I, enjoyed learning about it. It just did not end up being for me in the end. So if you have any other questions, you are welcome to let me know in a comment down below. My email is BeingMommywithStyle@gmail.com. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.